We are live.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulih al-Kareem wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. All praise and thanks belong to God. We thank Him for another day of life. And we ask Him to send His peace and blessings upon our noble messenger Muhammad and all messengers that came before him as guides to humanity. Welcome to Madina Institute's open house. My name is Ahmed. I am the Imam and Religious Director at the Islamic Center of Greater Toledo. I'm also a Madina alum, and I will be moderating today's open house. I graduated from Madina Institute in its pilot year in Cape Town, South Africa. And I only have 3 minutes, so there's no way I can talk to you about my experience, other than the fact that it was life-changing because as someone growing up in America, and not much really has changed in the sense that our world is filled with information. And sometimes that's good, but for the most part, that is an incredibly anxious, confusing experience, right? How do you know to filter through all that information? And that's when I realized I needed to be grounded. I needed to be grounded in the essentials, the foundations of this faith, so that I can navigate not just the plethora of information, but to be able to navigate who I was as a person in this country. And so before we even begin, it's really, really important to start with intention, okay? And intention is not just about making sure you're sincere for what you're about to do, okay? Because when we break down sincerity, what are we talking about? You want to reorient yourself to your objective. And so my question to all of you joining us, may Allah bless you. I can't see your beautiful faces, but I'm so happy that you have joined us to learn about this incredible institution and potentially join yourself. The question I have is, what brought you here? Ask yourself, what brought you here? What inspired you to be a part of our program today? And intention and in coming into creating a framework, right, for any of your involvement is incredibly important to be able to see, to taste the fruits of that involvement. There's a really interesting documentary on Netflix called Happy. And what they ended up doing is they interviewed all of the happy people, right, in the world, the happy people, right? And they had neuropsychologists and talk about the different dimensions of happiness. And so they said, 50% is just genetic, biological. There's nothing you can do about that. It's called that, right? And then they said 10% is due to what we think it is, right? Socioeconomic status, money, all of that stuff. And then he said 40% is what people can change, is what really contributes to how happy and fulfilled people are. Do you know what they called it? These aren't my words. They called it intentional activity, right? And what I want to do is not just remind you to make your intention, to reorient your objective for being here, but I want to thank you. I want to ask Allah to bless you for making the intention to join, because there's no greater intention than seeking out knowledge. This is why the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he told us explicitly, he said that seeking knowledge is an obligation on every Muslim and Muslimah. And some may dispute the second hadith where the Prophet ﷺ, he said it's an obligation on every male and woman. This is to emphasize, number one, that of course, women need to be seekers of knowledge. They are our lifelines, right? And they are our teachers, but also to emphasize knowledge itself. That one of the few times ever the Prophet ﷺ mentioned male and woman and female, because whenever he says Muslim, it includes both. But really one of the only times he emphasizes it is when he talks about knowledge. And remember, ilm and knowledge is not just about information here. It's information, right? Based on dalil. Shaykh Ninowy always tells us, you got to bring your dalil, you got to bring your evidence, right? Information and knowledge that goes from here into the heart that allows our lives to be transformed. And so with that, inshallah, that small introduction, we want to begin with some remarks by our Shaykh and instructor at Medina Institute, Shaykh Tarek. Bismillah, Sayyid.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Inshallah, everyone is doing well and staying safe. Thank you for this opportunity to address you, and thank you everyone for participating on a Saturday afternoon. One of the things that we know from our tradition is that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, as is narrated by Abu Dawood, that the Anbiya, all of the prophets, plural, they do not leave any wealth behind, but rather their inheritance is knowledge. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in what is now like a statement and a famous phrase that we use in the culture of Islam, al-ulamatu warathatul anbiya, that the ulama, that those who know and those who seek knowledge are the inheritors of the prophets. So everything that we do, everything that we seek to accomplish in our quest for knowledge, in a way is an opportunity for us to capture for ourselves some of this inheritance that belongs to our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wa alihi wasallam. So this is the premise that we begin with at Medina, that there is this premium and absolute importance in learning. One is that this is the inheritance. This is how we capture and encapsulate for us what is the personality and the life of our beloved Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam. And also the Prophet taught us, "Man salaka tariqan yaltamisu bihi ilman sahhala Allahu lahu tariqan ila al-jannah." Whoever treads the path of knowledge, Allah Ta'ala makes easy for them the path towards the hereafter. As a matter of fact, in praising knowledge, the Prophet ﷺ also taught us that the creatures of the earth, even the waves in the sea, pray for the person that is seeking knowledge. So this is something that is of the greatest accord. This is how Islam is passed from generation to generation. It is not passed in the books, it is not passed by statements, but rather it is passed from teacher to student in physical proximity, because you learn not only what is in the books, you learn not only how to read the books, but you learn the general approach. And that is something that is difficult to codify in words, but it is something that is codified in conduct. Having said that, one of the ways that we can understand the quest for knowledge in Islam is that there are 5 conditions for us to learn. And alhamdulillah, this is an easy framework that hopefully we can all understand and benefit from. And it is also something, alhamdulillah, that we're able to instill in our work at Medina. The first is you need the Shaykh, you need a teacher, meaning that you need somebody qualified to teach this subject, somebody who has trained to study this subject, somebody who's licensed to teach this subject, etc. I mean, that goes without saying. And then there's you, the student. There needs to be somebody who is ready to receive this information. I mean, that goes without saying. So the first 2 we kind of understand intuitively. The third is that we need a book. Now, not a PowerPoint presentation, not a summary, not lecture notes, but an actual book. In other words, there are certain books that the Ummah has accepted, that the Ummah has accepted as standard, that the Ummah has accepted as books that we use for this discipline or for that discipline, books of hadith or books of fiqh or books of mantiq or books of kalam or whatever the subject may be. Those books, what we can refer to in English as the great books of Islam, they're great books for a reason, because they encapsulate and they capture the ethos of that subject matter. They are written clearly, they have been commented on, they have been reviewed, they have been critiqued, etc. So when we study whatever the subject may be, and inshallah later we'll share with you some of the details of what we study, there's a certain reason why we select certain books, because these are the great books that need to be mastered in this discipline for you to traverse, into the next discipline or deeper. So that's the third condition, the book. And the fourth condition is that there has to be a curriculum, what we call al-manhaj. There has to be a rhyme and reason to why you're studying this book, why you're studying this subject, etc. And then there needs to be what we call al-jaw al-ilmi. There needs to be the learning environment. And this is one of the most critical components. One of the advantages at teaching at Medina is that the students are together, but the students also study different subjects together, even though they might personally their madhab might be this madhab, but they also study that madhab. And in that interaction comes the debate, comes the comparison, comes this learning environment. There's an environment that is allowing the students to thrive, to compare, to learn off of one another, to debate the teacher, to question the teacher, to question the text. And that is, in many respects, the most important component of learning, because it's very easy to sit at home and watch something on TV or on YouTube that's pre-recorded and sort of get into this tunnel vision. But without the opportunity to test what you know against other people, your learning won't be sharp. So when you learn in a learning environment and you mature through that and you continue that, then the conversation gets wider. So now, mashallah, there are many years, many circles of alumni of Medina that now serve as an international community in which conversations can happen, and therefore the discussion can happen at a higher level. So these 5 conditions provide for us a basic framework that, alhamdulillah, we are able to instill to help bridge this gap of modernity and help people, young Muslims, connect with their religion in a deeper way. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.
Thank you so much, Shaykh Tarek, for such an amazing framework, right? Sometimes our understanding of knowledge is quite scattered. So thank you for providing us a beautiful framework by which we understand that path. What are we here to do today? We're here, this is an open house. So we're here to learn. There's so many programs, mashallah, that Medina Institute offers all over the world, right? But today we're here to discuss the full-time Islamic studies program. And we have some things that we've been doing at Medina Institute. And so here to talk about the things that have been going on and some really big news, we have Ustadh Asad and Ryan that are going to talk to you about that, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Jazakum Allahu khairan, Sidi Ahmed, and to all of you for tuning in, inshallah. So we have some pretty major announcements that we're really excited to be making here today, inshallah. But before we make those announcements, what we would like to very briefly go over, and this is what Sidi Ryan, inshallah, will be telling us, is what Medina Institute has been doing for the past 5 years or so. So, Sidi Ryan.
Assalamu alaikum to everybody, and welcome. Really to echo a lot of what the previous 2 speakers have said, this 1-year intensive program is designed to ground and direct any given person in the Islamic sciences, right? So for the last 5 years, I myself am also of the alumni of Cape Town, South Africa, with Shaykh Ahmed there. And we moved, my family and I moved here to Atlanta, Georgia, to basically start the pilot here in the United States, given what we had gone through there in Cape Town. It was remarkable. So it truly shook everything that I, especially as a convert, I've been bouncing around, like everybody's telling me something else. So, you know, I was certainly not grounded. And the Islamic science program that we went through at Medina Institute not only gave us like grounding, but it gave us a great deal of breadth and depth in terms of every kind of core Islamic science. And the thing is that the beauty of it is that I did it on 1 year, right? I have little kids. I needed to know what I was doing, and in 1 year, I learned so much. And really, what I learned is that I didn't know anything, but I actually got grounded in what I did know and what I didn't know, and where to learn and how to learn. The learning environment was there. And so for the last 5 years, we've been going through that same 1 year intensive with another group of students, and another group of students, and another group of students. And it's basically an accelerated curriculum. That is, like, we literally covered so much ground so quickly. Actually, even in Cape Town, some of the teachers didn't believe we could do it. And sure enough, it's not only doable, but it's actually quite beneficial to do it the way we did it. You learn about every kind of Islamic science, and you have essential texts in that, and they give you a breakdown. They give you, sitting there with the scholars, a great deal of direction, right? It's definitely amazing too that it's critical thinking, as Shaykh Tarek mentioned. You interact with the teacher. The more you interact, the better. The teacher likes it, and it shows that you're alive, you're thinking, and that's what you want. And it's also immediately and very really relevant to your situation. You apply what you learn right there on the spot. We actually had only live classes initially. They started moving online, but due to the corona, things are kind of changing, obviously. And also the curriculum before was just one set curriculum. There wasn't really anything more you could do other than augment it. Once you had grounded yourself and seen the directions you could take, you take a direction. You start studying more intensely in something that you're interested in. But as Sidi Asad will show you, we're moving on to expand from that base.
Right, Jazakumullah khairan, Sidi Ryan. So that is what Medina Institute has been doing for the past 5 years. But inshallah, what we want to talk about very briefly now is what Medina Institute is doing now. There's several changes we've made that we're very excited about. So what's new? Well, the first thing, Sidi Ryan mentioned that our classes so far had only been on site, right, and in person. And we're very excited to announce that Medina Institute is actually moving our classes online. And the reason why we're very excited about that is because this opens a lot of doors and possibilities for people who want to seek knowledge and are not able to travel to do so, to be able to do that from their own homes. So that's something that we're very excited about, alhamdulillah. Our next academic year, inshallah, will be online. So that's the first thing. The second thing, or the second element that we're adding to our programs is that we're adding on several new elective courses. And inshallah, later on in this program, if you continue watching, those courses will be talked about in some detail. So you can stay tuned for that. But we're adding on several new elective courses and many new instructors as well. And basically, just to briefly mention what the purpose of these electives is to offer those who are looking to study the Islamic sciences other skills that they would need as well in order to serve the community or attain whatever their goals are. So please stay tuned for that. Inshallah, we'll have more information on that soon. And also, the final thing, Sidi Norman, is that we're adding in the ability to build your own program, right? As we're adding in new elective courses, you can now structure the program in what your ideas are and how you want to go over or how you want to reach your goals, inshallah ta'ala. And there will be a section on this as well later on in the program. But for now, we'll pass it on back to Sidi Ahmed Deeb, inshallah.
All right, mashallah. You know, me and Shaykh Ryan were part of the same cohort. And, you know, oftentimes people think, well, how can you do so much in a year, right? It's this common question. How could you do so much in a year? Is that even possible? Well, by putting in the effort and by having, you know, session after session. And it was so intense, and see, Ryan might laugh at this, that many of us, we, during lunch, because we're literally in classes all day, during lunch, we had what we called the slump room. And we go there and you go inside and you would just see a whole bunch of guys on the musalla floor taking a small 10-minute nap before our next stage of session. So, you know, yes, after the 1 year, you may not be Shaykh al-Islam, right? You're not going to be Mufti Zaman, but you're going to be given the foundations and the tools really more strongly than any other program that I know to be able to continue forward in the way that you want, okay? And in talking about those tools, the foundation of all of them is Arabic. The foundation of all of them is Arabic. You conquer Arabic, you can, inshallah, conquer everything else. So here to talk to us about the Arabic studies program is Ustadha Iqbal.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So I would like to talk about our brand new Arabic program that's 100% online. Bismillah. So this program is part of the Islamic studies degree that is taught in one academic year. It starts in June. It starts in September and ends in June. Also, we offer this program for students who may opt to learn Arabic only as an individual track. The main objective of this program is to enable students and to help learners to access Al-Quran Al-Kareem. So they learn actually all the skills in grammar and balagha that are needed to understand Islamic texts, and the top of that, Al-Quran Al-Kareem, and then tafasir al-hadith. So they learn skills and they work intensively, so they learn that. So this program has 8 courses in 1 year. We offer 3 courses in the first semester, and then 3 courses in the second semester, and 2 courses in the last semester. The first semester, we offer vocabulary and structure, reading and comprehension, classical grammar 1. When we come to teach Arabic, we teach classical Arabic, and mainly in this program, the online program is Quranic Arabic. So it's focused on classical Arabic more than modern standard Arabic. So students will learn more how to use the language rather than how to learn about the language. So they will learn vocabulary. So they will learn the vocabulary and the grammar beyond the usage of this vocabulary and that. So they will be able to use it. So we teach vocabulary and structures with grammar, and we teach reading and comprehension by analyzing grammar and vocabulary and other elements in the language. But also we have classical grammar as a subject by itself to enhance the classical Arabic and Quranic Arabic for our students. In the second semester, they will learn the same subjects, but part 2, where they can grow gradually. And then the fruitful part of the program will come at the last semester, where they learn advanced grammar. It will be مثل الأجرومية إن شاء الله تعالى. And they will learn advanced reading and comprehension, where they learn poetry, balagha, and other texts in the language. Who should apply for this program? First of all, student of knowledge. Arabic is the main key to access Islamic studies, sciences. So there is no way for any student of knowledge to learn about Islam unless they learn Arabic. And that's why we have this program as a part of the Islamic studies degree. And again, we offer this program if a student wants just to learn it, to learn Arabic only. Because some students choose to maybe do Arabic first and then do Islamic studies next. So also we offer this program for anyone interested actually to learn Arabic, if they want to get admission from schools around the US. Also, whoever is planning to learn Arabic overseas, I recommend that they spend 1 year with us, and then maybe they can travel. So if they're planning to spend a year or 2 in any of the Arab countries, they can spend 10 months with us, and then they will need only to spend 6 months or 4 months, and then they save some money. So again, about our methodology, this program is focused on the classical Arabic, but that will be taught in different levels: phonics, morphology, syntax, and semantics. So they will learn the language as a weave fabric, not as individual sciences. But the main focus on the program, it will be the grammar, inshallah ta'ala. And that's it for today. If you would like to inquire or ask any question about our program, please join me at the breakout room at 2 o'clock, inshallah ta'ala. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you so much, Ustadha Iqbal. May Allah bless you. Your job is probably the hardest, because if you don't, if you do it right, then mashallah, you get the reward of everything else that's studied. So may God bless you. In deciding where to study your religion, there are really three main considerations. Number one is, what is the curriculum like? And if you don't really know what an Islamic studies curriculum is supposed to look like, that may be hard for you to consider. But the two most important considerations in joining a program to study your faith is, what do students say about it? Who are these students? And who are their teachers? And so we're going to begin with some student experiences by, inshallah, our alumni Suhayla and Abdu Raheem. Inshallah, Suhayla, you can begin, ladies first. Tell us about your experience at Madina Institute.
All right, thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Suhayla Saudin, and I'm a part of Madina Institute's class of 2019. So looking back at my year at Madina Institute, it was truly a transformative and rewarding experience. And I have no doubt in my mind when I say it was the absolute best decision I have ever made for myself, alhamdulillah. 2 years ago from today, I was a high school student who was struggling to build a relationship with Allah, and my thirst to learn the truth only increased as the limited knowledge I had was that from Sunday school and only that I had learned at home. And so throughout school, I was constantly confronted with questions about my deen, and most of the time I realized that I didn't have the answers to even suffice myself. So due to this, I struggled to understand the wisdom behind the things I did as a Muslim. And to keep it real with you, there were various areas in which I was lacking in. But alhamdulillah, after graduating high school, I finally decided it was time to wake up and open my eyes. So when I heard about all of the different courses that Medina had to offer in my own hometown, I instantly knew that this was a sign for me. So I had finally gotten the chance to stitch back the pieces of my puzzled heart, and I got to ask different questions that I had always chucked to the back of my mind. After being told I wasn't really allowed to question the proof of God's existence, and I felt like I had entered dangerous grounds of taboo. So during one of my very first classes with Shaykh Ninowy in Aqidah, he explained to us how people are often told how to worship, while often forgetting to teach about who we are worshiping. And so this leads people to often minimize Islam to only robotic rituals, right? And so unfortunately, this was the case for me at the time. But after hearing this, I was able to identify the misconceptions I had, and I was able to finally reassemble my foundation. And so throughout my studies, I began to realize why I felt so incredibly lost before this program. And it was because my heart was longing to get to know its creator, Allah, and his beloved messenger, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And alhamdulillah, although it wasn't an easy journey, I had finally found comfort in sujood. The sweetness of my salah was finally found, and I was constantly in the remembrance and the consciousness of Allah. And so I had fallen in love with this new mindful person I was becoming, and I really understood what it meant to have trust in Allah, the best of planners. And soon enough, after constant long nights of studying at the Institute and frequent sleepovers at the Medina apartments in Medina, Atlanta, this place of illumination quickly became my second home. And so one last note I'd like to quickly close on was during my first semester, alhamdulillah, I got the amazing opportunity to sit in with Shaykh Suhayla in one of his classes, Shaykh Suhayla Lahir, who has various titles of association with Fawakih, MIT, BU, Boston University, and Harvard University. And he once mentioned a hadith which sincerely moved me, and he said, the likeness of a righteous friend and an evil friend is the likeness of a musk seller and a blacksmith. As for the musk seller, you may benefit from his sweet smell, and as for the blacksmith, he may either burn your clothes or you may be exposed to his awful smell. And so after hearing this, this allowed me to recognize the beautiful companionship that my brothers and sisters within my class had cultivated amongst us on our path to seek knowledge. And alhamdulillah, I'll always be grateful for these people and cherish these lifelong friends I have made during my year, who to this day pushed me to be better than who I was yesterday. And so for those who are considering to join the Institute, You should definitely feel rest assured that just like in my case, as well as those who have studied internationally, you will come to realize that this was one of the best decisions you have ever made in your life, inshallah ta'ala. And this will definitely benefit you in this world and the next. Jazakallahu khair. Thank you for your time.
MashaAllah, what a beautiful, beautiful question, reflection. Suhayla. I had many of those same questions myself, and I was very, very happy to find them answered when I joined. But as you mentioned, really there's no greater fruit than righteous companionship. And you find that when you're around people who are also studying the faith. So inshallah, we want to also bring on our dear brother, Abdu Raheem, and ask him about his experience. You're graduating this summer, congratulations. Tell us about your experience in Medina.
Sure. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ali Sayyidina Muhammad wa barak wa sallam. MashaAllah, la hawla wa quwwata illa billah. Fassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. My name is Abdu Raheem ibn Alberto. As mentioned, I'm a soon to be alumni, inshallah, after this coming week's finals. And I'm embarrassed to be sitting in the same Zoom meeting with the likes of Shaykh Tarek and Mufti Asif and the rest of my teachers. The little that I know is all I owe it to them. And really what initially attracted me to this program was some of the talks by the founding director, Shaykh Muhammad bin Yahya Ninowy. His talks were always academically oriented, very rigorously, intellectually rigorous. They reach the heart and make you reflect on your connection with Allah, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And they are always applied. And this minhaj, I suppose, or methodology, as Shaykh Tarek mentioned, is replete. It's throughout the different instructors at Madina. And really sitting with the shuyukh and being able to ask them questions and get some sincere advice from a place of wisdom, from their years of experience and their teachers' experience is invaluable in and of itself. That alone is more than worth it to do this program. Now, one of the biggest things that I got out of it, as Sister Suhayla mentioned, was sort of a complete recentering of your life and a grounding of your life, just the way you view things, the way you understand things, and the way you want to move through the world. And I'm sure for many of you who are thinking about applying, I was in the same situation. If you're thinking about maybe instead of pursuing this year of education, doing a full-time job or for the career, or maybe pursuing some other education. I worked as a data engineer for a year, and I did 1 year of a master's program before coming here. And I can tell you this program has incredible benefits for those things. Like if you want to be successful in those other things, doing this Islamic studies first will of course give you the akhirah, but it will actually have some benefit for the dunya. As Shaykh Tarek had mentioned, like the scholars that we're inheriting their knowledge from, they are intellectual giants. Many of them were doctors. Many of them invented fields like sociology or algebra. They were giants in all of these other things that we also, inshallah, want to be good at and masters of those sciences. So when you study their books and you study from people who studied from people who studied from them, you get their method of thinking, you get their way of understanding, and it unlocks a thinking and an intellectualism that apply to things that you think are not related to the Islamic sciences. And inshallah, in the breakout rooms, I can speak more about this. But just for example, in the hadith sciences, the sort of rigor and documentation that is gone, the painstaking work and labor people do for the sake of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and preserving the words, it makes you appreciate things when people make comments about history or things like that and what the documentation purposes are like. Or from the Usuli sciences, when people make arguments about whether some things are justified or not justified, etc. And as far as the feasibility of the program, I really have to thank Ustadha Iqbal and the other teachers. Just like at the beginning, they're just like a mountain to overcome, and you just go piece by piece, and you don't think it adds up, but when you do the whole thing, it does. Like Ustadha Iqbal did an excellent job of encouraging us to work on these little things. And for example, we'll do like a Shafi Usul class, and we'll talk about certain ayat and the context that they play in certain fiqh rulings. But then we'll talk about those ayat again in a different class in Ulumul Quran from one teacher. And then we might hit them again when a different teacher covers it and you're invited to the webinar. And then we'll do the Hanafi Usul, and you'll reach the same ayat again, but each time from a different perspective, and it keeps growing, and your understanding keeps growing. So, and yeah, alhamdulillah, please reach out to us in the breakout room. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you so much, beloved brother Abdu Raheem. Beautiful reflections, beautiful thoughts, beautiful insights about your experience. Sidi Abdu Raheem mentioned breakout rooms. At the end of this, there are going to be breakout rooms where you can learn more in a more kind of intimate manner. Right now, we're just giving you a framework and overview, but there's going to be breakout rooms that you can enter directly after this. Now, remember, we talked about the 3 considerations in thinking about what program you should join to learn about your faith. And we've come to arguably the most important, potentially definitely the most important part, is who are your teachers? Who's going to be teaching you this? Your teachers will inform so much of what you believe and do, not just in Islam, in anything, right? The teachers you have will inform so much of your worldview. And so it's essential that your teachers are sound intellectually, spiritually, emotionally, in every way. And so here with us, mashallah, we are joined with our 2 instructors at Madina Institute, but we're also joined with Shaykh Muhammad bin Yahya Ninowy, who is the founding director of Madina Institute. Our Shaykh, please, inshallah, we want to welcome Shaykh Ninowy, and he's going to give us some remarks about the program. Okay, I'm being told he's not here yet. So what we'll do, inshallah, is we'll move on to Shaykh Tarek, who you heard from already, and then after we'll move on to Mufti Asim. Bismillah, Shaykh Tarek.
Okay, thank you. So I am teaching Shafi Fiqh and Usul al-Fiqh. I did in the past, and I will inshallah continue in the fall. So to give you a sense of what that means and the general approach is, I am not interested in having students simply memorize how you make wudu according to the Shafi madhab, for example, how you pray according to the Shafi madhab. That's obviously the beginning, but in the study of Islamic law, we work backwards. So we learn the ruling first. So, this dhuhr is 4 rak'ahs, and this is how you pray dhuhr. So you have to learn that, but then you need to go backwards. Well, why is that the case? So I'm very much interested in asking and answering those questions for the students. Well, because there are these set of hadith that are narrated in these collections that Imam Shafi read as being the proof texts for that. So that also necessitates that Imam Shafi, for example, didn't take these other hadith that the other imams took. And to keep asking why, and to go back. And this is what we mean by Usuli Islam. This is Islam that is based on first principles. It's based on the interpretive methodology that is laid down by Usul al-Fiqh. And then from the Usul al-Fiqh, whether it is one of the 2 major schools, it is either the school of the majority of the Shafi'is, the Hanbalis, and the Malikis, or it is the Usul al-Fiqh of Imam Abu Hanifa. These are the 2 main schools of Usul al-Fiqh. However, as we teach it as a combined school. So the later study of Usul al-Fiqh is to study the combined effort, and that's just like a technical idea. I don't want to get you lost in the weeds, but the idea is to learn how to read the primary text. That's the goal. That is how Islam was built. That is what sustained Islam, and that is how Islam spread, and that is what will preserve Islam, inshallah, for our generation and the generation after us. So I'm very much interested in stimulating this type of conversation in the classroom. So when I teach, for example, and I mean, you can see some of the books that, in my library, but when I teach, I try to bring at least like 2 shelves worth of these books with me as references, so that when a student asks a question, many times I don't know the answer, so we'll look it up together. And in that process, the student will learn how to research, which is very, very important, because a madhab is a living school of thought. It's not something that's stuck in stone. So inside a madhab, you will find all sorts of opinions and contradictory statements and things like that. So the student needs to learn how to make heads and tails of that. And I also want students to compare these certain aspects of Islamic law with the other madahib. Why does one imam take this hadith and act this way, and another imam will take the same exact hadith but act another way? And in that process of studying usul al-fiqh with fiqh, the student then starts to see how Islam is formed. And then all of the sciences, all of the disciplines start talking to each other. It's very much like an orchestra with instruments. The individual subject matters, whether it be the subjects of grammar, the nahu, the sarf, the balagha, or whether it be hadith studies, tafsir, ulum al-Quran, fiqh, usul al-fiqh, etc., mustalah, mantiq, all of these things are individual instruments. What brings all of these instruments together to make the music of Islam is usul al-fiqh. And therefore, in presenting usul to the students, they start, hopefully, I mean, that's the example that I use, but hopefully you start to see the beauty of it. You see how it all works together. You see how all of the ulum come together to produce something that is really magical, that is really beautiful. So that's a little bit of my approach with fiqh and with usul. I've had a lot of success with the first group of students that I had. MashaAllah, it was a tremendous opportunity. I really, really enjoyed it. And it was very intense, and we really got into a lot of things in like super detail, and we'd have to like look up things and look up things in other madahib. It was a lot of fun, and hopefully the students benefited from that. And this is the way I learned, and inshallah, I look forward to passing it on in the fall and beyond.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Barakallah fikum, Shaykh Tarek. I might want to, if it's okay, audit some of these classes without anyone knowing. So I'm just telling you in advance, I will be coincidentally part of the Zoom meeting. Just don't tell on me. With us also, we have Mufti Asif. So Shaykh Tarek, MashaAllah, is a teacher of Shafi, Fiqh, and Usul at Madina Institute. He's an Azhar grad. And I don't really need to tell you much about his bio. You can tell from the eloquence of his words and his wisdom, MashaAllah, the depth of his knowledge. With us, we also have Mufti Asif. He's the Hanafi school teacher. And if you don't know what these schools of thought are, definitely go to the breakout rooms where these things can be fleshed out in more detail. And he graduated from the Darul in the UK. Please go ahead and tell us more about what you teach at Madina Institute, Shaykh.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Just want to thank everyone for being here today. Before we get into the topic of what I'm teaching, I just want to kind of go over two more important things, which is when we studied compared to what we are studying in this day and age within the environment of Madina Institute. I think one of the most important things, of course, is a one-year program, but at the same time, the difference between this one-year program and the studies that we've done in about 7 to 8 years, of course, nothing is compared. 1 year is nothing compared to 7 to 8 years. However, a person that studied the 7 to 8 years course and then having to teach a 1 year course, you can understand the difference between both of them and kind of, elaborate on, how does a person really go out and build a base in 1 year? And many people have this question that how is it possible that in 1 year I'm going to be able to learn all of these different sciences, like earlier some of the instructors mentioned. I could tell you one thing, that it is possible. It's a great ground to building a base, and I think that's extremely important. And one of the most, and this is going to be my 3rd year coming back to Madina Institute as a teacher, as an instructor. And I've taught in other places, but I could tell you one thing, that being part of Madina Institute has been an honor for me. And at the same time, it's extremely exciting to teach these students because of the way they interact and of the way that they are able to ask questions. Many times people just ask questions just for the sake of knowledge. But when a person asks a question and he knows what he's talking about, that's what's exciting, and that's what gets challenging, because these students, they come from a background, not just, okay, like when we studied our knowledge, we were 14 years old. We didn't have an idea of the world. We've never been to middle school, high school. We didn't know what's going on in the world. With these students, when they come into this classroom, most of them have already done high school. So they've been through that environment. They've been through that mindset, that ideology of what's going on in the world. And then having to sit in a classroom where you talk about fiqh and usul al-fiqh and all of these beautiful topics. I mean, it really opens your mind at that age. And I think that's extremely important, because having a environment like that where a teacher is able to go. I remember while teaching in the past several years, while teaching these students, I mean, literally after every ibarat that we read, it was like, okay, I have a question, I have a question. And alhamdulillah, the great thing is that we always answered those questions. We've always been there trying to help them out each step of the way. It wasn't like, okay, just let me just teach them, let them grasp it if they're able to. If they're not able to, it's up to them to grasp it. It's not like that. It's a very interactive way of teaching, which I think is extremely important for a student and teacher classroom environment. So going on to what exactly I'm teaching the Hanafi fiqh, which is the opposite of the Shafi fiqh. In many different aspects, it has similarities. Some parts of the fiqh, there's some differences. However, the biggest advantage, again, of being in a classroom with Madina Institute is that when we studied our school of thoughts, we only confined ourselves to the Hanafi fiqh. Whereas when you're studying with Madina Institute, you get a taste of Shafi fiqh, Maliki fiqh, Hanbali fiqh, Hanafi fiqh. So that, from a student standpoint, I think that's remarkable because you get a overall view of what is going on within the madahib, and that's extremely important being a student of Madina Institute. When we talk about Hanafi fiqh, I teach the Sharah al-Quduri, which is one of the most, I would say, a very authentic book in the Hanafi fiqh, which I only teach the ibadat section. There's two sections, and I teach the ibadat section, which is in relationship with everything in relationship with the human being and with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So whatever is related to that. So that could be tahara, how to perform your tahara, the wudu, tayammum, impurities. We discuss masa al khuffain, and then we move on to salawat, praying salat, different types of salat. As we know in the deen, there's different types of salat. There's the 5 regular salats, there's the adhan, iqama, and then there's the salatul khawf, there's Eid salat, there's janazah salat, there's Jummah salat, there's tarawih. I mean, we go into in-depth discussions on each of these topics. And I think that's extremely important because we've learned, many of us have learned our religion, our deen from just friends and family, maybe through culture a lot of the times, and maybe many times we pray our salat because our parents taught us that way. But the reality is, why is it that we're doing that? Why are we performing it that way? And I think that's extremely important as a believer of the deen to understand on why we do these things and what basis and what background these rulings come from. And that's the importance of being part of this program. And then we further, in the ibadat section, we talk about zakat, we talk about siyam, we talk about i'tikaf, we talk about hajj, qurbani, pretty much like every aspect of the deen. When it comes to ibadat, we discuss that in detail, one by one. It's a very, very lengthy process, but at the same time, it is something that does get covered, and I, those that are listening in, I really, really recommend, in the past, I know some of the students, they took off 1 year between their high school and their colleges and the university. I highly recommend that before someone does enter their university or go on to progress in their life from a educational background, I think it's extremely important to utilize your time while you have that time to maybe perhaps achieve these different types of sciences of the deen, so that, like the students earlier mentioned, so that it could change your perspective and give you a better understanding of this deen, inshallah. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us understanding of this. Jazakallah khair for your time, inshallah.
Barakallahu feekum, Mufti Asif. So just to let you know in advance, I'm also going to be auditing, sneaking into many of your courses, inshallah. So please don't tell on me. we have with us now. So it's very important to recognize and to understand that, knowledge has utility, right? Knowledge is meant to be applied in the world. Now, there's an individual application through the transformation of the self, but there's also a transformation of society. And that comes with the transformation of the self. So here with us, we have Sister Somaya from the Islamic Speakers Bureau, which is this legendary institution that I've used so many of their resources, mashallah, especially the one about American Muslim history that I used to create my own curriculum. And she's going to talk to us about the important electives and essential skills that one must have to equip that knowledge with also the ability to lead with that knowledge.
Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. What an honor and privilege to be here today and hear the amazing graduates of Madina Institute and hear from the very knowledgeable teachers that Madina Institute has. I don't know about you, but I'm just really blown away. I have the distinct pleasure today to talk to you about the electives that are offered by Madina Institute. So we heard about the very strong foundation from a religious standpoint that Madina Institute provides, but they're not stopping there. They want their graduates to be able, as Brother Ahmed said, Imam Ahmed said, to hit the ground running as community leaders. So they want to give them those tools to be able to do that right away. And the elective courses that were mentioned, they're based on leadership competencies. What does the world need? What does the leader need to go out there and lead in communities? And what does the community need? So those two things were kept in mind as Madina Institute selected, excuse me, the elective courses. I want to also mention something that was said earlier. The course facilitators are experts in their fields, both academically as well as having a very proven record of displaying all those different electives. The courses that they're bringing to Madina include public speaking, which is going to be delivered by members of the Islamic Speakers Bureau of Atlanta, interfaith dialogue, family counseling, youth counseling, and nonprofit management. So let's look at each one of these elective courses a little bit further. As we all know, public speaking is feared by all people just about. Actually, studies have found that public speaking, people fear it just right after death. So they fear death and then they fear public speaking. And through the public speaking course, students will learn the tools to be effective communicators in the public square, to be able to have positive presence, and how to relate to their audiences, including answering questions. And some of them might be difficult questions. So that is the public speaking course. Now the other next course is interfaith dialogue. Muslims don't live in an island. We are here partners with many people of different faith traditions, and it's very imperative for all of us to understand how to do interfaith work properly. So the interfaith dialogue course will give people the tool on how to engage in interfaith dialogue. It would also give them an overview of other Abrahamic faiths, such as Judaism and Christianity. Again, knowing about the people who the students will be interacting with. The third course is one that is so needed in our community, and that is family counseling. I can't tell you how many people come to me and to others wanting help in terms of family situations. And many times our community does not have the resources needed. So Madina Institute is providing a course on family counseling. They will enhance the skills and effectiveness of the students while helping them develop clarity around their role as aspiring community leaders in using counseling to help families in their communities. Again, a very much needed skill set that is needed by the Muslim community all over. Another much needed area is youth counseling. How do we deal with our youth who might be running into some trouble, who might have maybe drug problems or can't talk to their parents, and the list goes on. And we all have experience that in our communities and sometimes in our own families. So students have the opportunity to take the youth counseling course and be an amazing resource for their communities. The fifth elective is also very, very important, and that is nonprofit management. A lot of people don't know how to run a nonprofit, and many times people join nonprofits as leaders and they don't know how to run them, or they might want to start their own. So this course gives students the ins and outs of running a nonprofit, from starting one to running one, recruiting board members, fundraising, and the list goes on. So as you can see, Madina Institute put a lot of thought behind what electives to offer their students. And they want to elevate the student experience. They want their students to be able, once they graduate, to fit in the many communities that they come from or go to and be very much value added. In my opinion, just hearing the Madina Institute story today and what I know about it from before, they really set themselves apart from other programs, both academically, but also how to apply those academics in providing leadership in communities throughout the US, and not only throughout the US, but throughout the world. So I hope that you all join Madina Institute and learn from their amazing instructors, from their amazing environment, from their amazing curriculum, and make the world a better place. And the Islamic Speakers Bureau of Atlanta, we're very honored to be partnering with Madina Institute to bring the public speaking course to the class of 2021. Thank you.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah, Sister Somaya. Thank you for such an eloquent exposition and a grounding. There's nothing more important than being equipped to take on the world and hit the ground running. So God bless you for your work, and it's so awesome to have you on board. Inshallah, what we're going to do next is you want to understand what the program is like, right? Beyond just the essentials, right? How there's several electives to complement what you want to do in life. And to do that, we will inshallah begin with the mastermind, the founding director of this institution, Shaykh Muhammad bin Yahya and Ninowy, who's going to give us some insight and some remarks about Madina Institute and its program as a whole. Tafadhal, Shaykhna.
Assalamu alaikum, Imam Ahmed, and thank you so much for being here and leading us through this. And also, I really appreciate everyone, especially the ISB and its wonderful team and everyone else out there. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Just to make the story short, and you all know the importance of knowledge, especially in times like today, where the world is oftentimes, especially when it comes to religiosity, it's based on snippets, on texts out of contexts, a one-sided version of a story, and sort of little context to content, and obviously a lack of the constructive, critical approach that religiosity in general requires. Today we live in a time where knowledge is reduced to information, and information is not, the content of information is incomplete, but yet we're faced with a world that has changed and evolved in such a way that the world is a small village. I strongly and profoundly believe that as American Muslims, we have a lot to offer, and as Muslims in general, we have a lot to offer, regardless where we are. But as Muslims in this time, and when things are difficult, that's when the qualities shine and are refined and are polished. And I think we have a lot to give: hope, growth, and opportunity for all. That's the whole point behind the compassion, education, and illumination path that Madina took and wants to share with the rest of the world. People are out there are searching. They oftentimes get confused by whatever comes up first on their Google searches. And that's why it became an industry on its own. It's just who pays more to be number one. And we're not really getting to where we need to get. The little depth that's there, the regurgitation of small content or incomplete content of information, oftentimes the lack of contextual application, and often or most times or frequently, we have a lack of critical academic approach that is required in studying faith and religion. And obviously, especially nowadays, when you've got, especially in a situation where you have lack of sort of homogeneous orthodoxy in thinking, if I may just say. Therefore, Madina comes, and what we try to do, obviously every single one of us has their own convictions and their own things. But the thing that we've all agreed upon, the principle that we've all agreed upon, is that we will adopt a non-dogmatic approach. It's not going to be dogma that this is how it is and this is what it is. Madina has always been like that, and inshallah will always be like that. There is no dogma here. It's an open house with no doors. Anyone welcome to come in, and anyone is also welcome to leave. This is what we offer for all. The Quran and the authentic prophetic sunnah, by definition, out of that is obviously the muhkam of the Quran, the definitive of the Quran, and also the qat'i and the muhkam of the sunnah, the definitive in meaning and in attestation of the sunnah, is the foundation. So we try to go back to the basics of the book and the uncontested authentic prophetic sunnah, and we build on that as maratibul adilla naqliya, as the sequence of the priorities of textual dalils, then gain or lose strength, and then we build on that priority level. We certainly, many of us believe here at Madina that this is the way, not just to unite the ummah, which is one of our principles and goals, by the way, as well, but it is one of the ways also, and by uniting the ummah means obviously neutralizing hatred, inter and intra-sectarian both, and neutralizing ill competitions, neutralizing these things, and replacing that with programs of tazkiyah, of refinement, of illumination, of akhlaq, of Muhammadan characters as much as we can. And we all have to adopt and improve, and we stand corrected. But also we believe it's not just for the sake of the unity of the ummah, it's actually for the sake of the application of Islam in nowadays times and in every time. The beauty that Islam came is with its basic message that was simple yet profound and beautiful. And I think that's exactly where we want to be. And therefore at Madina, I always say, wherever we are, obviously you all that know that Madina is an accredited university in South Africa, alhamdulillah. We're working on that in different other locations. But at Madina, I always want to say that this is where the minds ought to clash, but the hearts ought to be in peace and appreciation and mutual respect of each other. Let the minds clash as much as you want. That's what we want to foster. That's the environment we want to have. We don't believe that unity means conformity. And that may rub some people, obviously, on fringes in a different way. But that's okay. That's part of the reformist movement that we want to also partake in and contribute positively to the ummah of the Prophet ﷺ and also to humanity in general. It is about actually going to the basic message that the Prophet ﷺ came with, the simple, the Quran, the Sunnah, and not just selective here and there. And also the content, the context, and the application, then the innovation. On that level, one learns the content, then goes and sees the content in a context, then the application, then obviously innovation. And with innovation, I don't mean bid'ah here in that sense, but being creative in the dynamic application of the contextual content that the Deen gave us as well. And the Prophet ﷺ, with the simplicity that he brought, touched the hearts of many people and also upset many people. But most people who are fair-minded and because Islam wants us not to be mindless, like one of my friends said, mindless followers, but wants us to be actually mindful worshippers of Allah. Mindless followers is how we've had crazy stuff happen, and you all know Madina Institute has been taking the lead on non-violence and peace studies and all that stuff, right? We want to have mindful worshippers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of the creator of all, and reaching at the end of the day, reaching the hearts of people, so the hearts of people can connect with their creator and find tranquility and peace in the knowledge with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The last thing I want to say here also is the news that I'm sure you've already sort of know, that we're moving this year the full-time program online. It's going to be entirely online, and we will make it easier this way, inshallah, for anyone who wants to study, becomes fully online. We will try to adapt to the new challenge with this COVID, while praying that Allah eases the suffering of all humanity and all people. For no Muslim that is sane and decent wishes harm or hurt to any human being or any life, because Allah asked us actually to what? To bring, to positively contribute to all lives, to positively contribute to all beings, to positively contribute to the world. Sta'amarakum fiha, Allah says. So this way, I think by having the classes online, we'll be able to be live with, so maximum benefit can be gained. People are also able to interact and discuss with teachers and other students. So there are lots of things that are new, inshallah, and we'll continue to evolve. Nobody is claiming that anyone is perfect other than the Anbiya alayhimus salatu wassalam. We are imperfect in our perfection and perfect in our imperfection. But our commitment is that we will try. We will try to improve. We will try to be better, inshallah ta'ala. And we also ask for you to help in that. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless you and bless your family, so we can all contribute to a better world, a better understanding, and a better human being. The beauty about this also full-time program that's online, you can build your own program according to your own goals, according to your own needs, according to your own preferences. We're adding the leadership elective courses, and we're adding the speaking, which is, you've just heard the wonderful mentor and leader, Sister Somaya Khalifa. You've heard about how important that is. So we're adding these components as well. We're very excited, inshallah. Allah asked us to do the effort, and we're trying to do the effort. We're not there. We can do better and more, and inshallah we will. But we're excited about that, and hopefully we'll get somewhere with this. I ask Allah to reward us, inshallah, correct us when we are wrong. Looking forward to seeing all of you, inshallah, grow, learn, and thrive in Medina, with Medina, inshallah, and that we are always consistent with Sahibul Medina, the one who established Medina first, and that is no other than Sayyiduna Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Hafizakumullah, Shaykh. Thank you. We need to be creative in dynamic application of the content in context. This was the quote you just heard. You need to take that and you need to frame it on your wall, because that is how we rise to the challenges of the modern and postmodern world, right? It's not enough to just criticize secular liberalism and postmodern methodology. It's not enough, right? We have to rise to those challenges and be equipped with the intellectual arsenal and the spiritual arsenal to be able to be creative in the dynamic application of our faith in context. God bless you, Shaykh Muhammad. Hafizakumullah. Thank you so much for your remarks. And now that you've been given insight into the inner mechanics of Medina Institute's curriculum and program and vision, we have with us Ustadh Asad, who is going to talk to us about the idea of building your own program.
Jazakumullah khairan, Sidi Ahmed. So one of the new features about the program that Medina Institute is very excited to announce is, and something that we've heard before in the presentation from Shaykh as well, Shaykh Muhammad as well, is the feature of building your own program, right? So let's go over some details regarding this new feature and how it's different to what we've been doing before. So we have certain core sciences that are essential that every student will have to take, core subjects that every student will have to take, regardless of what your interest is, right? So there's Arabic, there's Aqidah, Quranic sciences, Hadith sciences, history and Seerah, Fiqh, which is jurisprudence, Usul al-Fiqh, which is legal theory, right? And that will be both Hanafi and Shafi for both of those, and Tazkiyah, which is spiritual purification. So these are the core sciences which everybody will have to take. Now, on top of these core sciences, what we're now adding are electives, right? And these electives will be of different kinds, different courses that we're adding with new instructors, which we're very excited about. So here is where you have the opportunity to build a course based on your aspirations and your goals, right? And that's what we're trying to provide to you. So you can take courses in the same sciences, the core sciences, if you would like to follow the Islamic scholarship program and take more advanced courses in those same subjects. So more advanced courses in Aqidah, more advanced courses in Arabic, more advanced courses in Hadith sciences, so on and so forth. And also additional courses, right? Such as Islamic philosophy, which is a new module that we're adding as well. So that's one option that's available. Also, if somebody wants to go down the leadership route, there's the leadership courses, which Sister Somaya mentioned in her presentation, right? So those courses are also available as electives for those who are looking to walk down that path. And in addition to that, we have other elective courses as well, right? Such as the Quranic ethics course, which we're very excited to be launching, which also has a practical component to it. And for that, we will be requesting our students in the next Ramadan, right? Obviously, granted that the COVID situation has calmed down and it's safe to do so. For the Quranic elective course, Quranic ethics course, for that elective, students will have to be present here in Atlanta for the month of Ramadan, which would give them an opportunity to physically apply Quranic ethics, not just learn about the theory, but also to sit with Shaykh Muhammad and other scholars and in physical proximity, as Shaykh Tarek had mentioned earlier, take knowledge from them, sitting with them, rather than just online, right? So we're very excited about launching the online program, but we don't want to diminish the benefits of sitting in close proximity, which we'll be offering to our students in the month of Ramadan, an opportunity to come and apply the Quranic ethics section and learn from Shaykh Muhammad and the Qaris, the reciters who come in the month of Ramadan. Right, so that's one thing. And in addition to that, we have other elective courses as well, such as Islamic economics, which we're very excited about, nonviolence and peace studies, which Shaykh Muhammad also mentioned, a course that's very important that we've just designed, that's very important for our contemporary situation. And with that, you have the core sciences, and through the electives, you can build a program based on what it is that you would like to do, the path that you would like to walk, right? And in addition to that, if somebody wants to earn the associate's degree in Islamic and Arabic studies, there's the additional component of the research, right, that you have to do. And that option is also available to you. So for more information on this concept of the electives, building your own program, and so on and so forth, you can see me in the breakout room for the Islamic electives. Inshallah, I will be there. And if you have any questions, you can certainly ask me, inshallah, and those who will be there with me, inshallah. Jazakumullahu khairan. Sidi Ahmed, back over to you.
So much, Ustadh Asad, Hafidhakumullah. You do such amazing work, and I know how hard it is to be on the back end and at the same time being on the front end, right? Battling, wearing those two hats. So God bless you and continue blessing you and protect you and preserve you. We have with us now, inshallah, our sister Dia, who's going to talk to us about the application process and inshallah opportunities for financial aid. Sister Dia, you're muted. Let me unmute you. Or you can do that yourself.
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Inshallah, everyone is well. I feel definitely honored to be the person who starts your journey into Islamic knowledge. Inshallah, I will be the go-to person for your admissions, for your academic advising, and financial advising, inshallah. So let's start with the steps of admissions. Just quickly going over it, inshallah, I'll be in breakout room number 1. And that's admissions and financial aid if you have any questions. And also you can always go to our website and there's a lot of information there. The steps to apply are you submit your online application. You just go to madinainstitute.com/apply. And then after you will get an email, inshallah, giving you the next steps. So in those next steps, this is just summarized. You will need to provide proof of identification, either a driver's license or a passport, and then also submit a copy of your past schooling, either a high school diploma or anything equivalent or higher, inshallah. And as far as the admission requirements, you have to be 16 years of age and have a high school diploma or a GED. So those are our requirements. You do not need to know Arabic. Inshallah, you can start with 0 Arabic. And that's the beauty of Medina. When students come in with not knowing even how to read and write in Arabic, and then they come out, alhamdulillah, reading and understanding classical texts, which is mind-blowing for me to see throughout the years. Inshallah, this year we have kind of extended the application deadline until August 15th. So because of the virus, the pandemic, and inshallah you have more time. Look through our programs. You have many options now. It's online and you have until the 15th to apply. I will help you throughout the process. I will be the one sending you emails, so feel free to ask me any questions. Tuition and financial aid, inshallah. Tuition will be different for different countries. So based on the pricing of the country and the lifestyle there and the status, that will be kind of dependent on that. And there will be more, we will kind of give you the tuition, inshallah, either after the breakout room or after you apply, we can work that out. And financial aid, it's on individual evaluations. So it's a first come, first serve basis. And it's also a kind of a sadaqah and a help and a scholarship for the needy. After, if there is a budget left, we will definitely love to give more people financial aid. Inshallah, you will have a great year and we would love to have you for this 1-year intensive. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Barakallah fiki. Sister Dia, thank you for that breakdown. And so, alhamdulillah, you've had the opportunity to really get a deeper look at what it means to study one's faith. And it's very involved, but it's a very beautiful process and it's structured. One of my greatest crises growing up as a young person in this country was that I felt everything was just so scattered when it came to Islam, right? I call this soundbite Islam. And it's very unhealthy, this soundbite Islam, where your entire configuration, spiritual configuration and intellectual configuration to the faith comes from scattered lectures and khutbahs and halaqas and sermons. But that isn't knowledge of the faith, because again, that can be incredibly disorienting. And finding Medina Institute, I was actually on my way to Syria, and then the war broke out. And I was so blessed that Shaykh Muhammad knew my father from Syria. And he just, Allah works in the way that he works. And he just hit up my father and he told him, hey, we're doing this 1-year program. It's a pilot program. Is your son interested? And so I ended up going to South Africa. I'll be honest, and my South African friends watching this, they're gonna make fun of me and laugh. I didn't know what South Africa was. I'm just gonna put it out there. I had no idea what South Africa was, let alone Cape Town. I didn't even do any Googling before I went. So I honestly I thought I was going to Mauritania. And I ended up being in Cape Town, and I can tell you right now, as someone who has been blessed to have many teachers and has been blessed to be studying this faith for a long time, and I still have 30, 40 years to go to become a student of this faith. As someone who's been engaged in this process, there is nothing that has filled me with more motivation to continue, more inspiration to keep going, than the reference point I had, which is the first place you study the deen. and that was in Cape Town. The love I experienced, the curriculum that was so powerful, learning so much that I didn't like. I was like, I remember being in classes sometimes. I'm like, wait, this is part of our religion? Like, talking about this is actually a thing? And when we study theology, you know, Shaykh Muhammad, when he walks, he just floats, right? So he floats into the classroom. And, you know, I'm ready to talk about theology. I'm ready to talk about, you know, doctrine. First thing he puts on the board is, you know, he talks to us about dalil. He talks to us about authenticity. How do we know what we know? Why does God exist? And I'm like, whoa, we're actually addressing these things? Incredible. And it's that first reference point, please pay attention, that will either make your journey or break it. Make sure your first reference point is not toxic, it is not unhealthy, it is not scattered, it is not intellectually poisonous and dangerous. Go with an environment, whatever that may be, right? This isn't like a sales pitch. Go to an environment that is trustworthy and that can help hold your hand on this journey in a way that is healing, that is intellectually honest, and that is spiritually transformative. And so, as we close, we first want to thank all of our speakers, our instructors, our amazing back end. You know, Ustadh, no man, he's in the back end. You don't see him. He's doing all the tech. He's live streaming at like 6 different pages. I told him your job is a nightmare, so you're probably getting more reward than all of us. You know, we ask Allah to bless him and bless his family. We ask Allah to bless all of our shuyukh that you heard from, Shaykh Tarek and Mufti Asif. May Allah preserve them and protect them. And may Allah keep them for us to benefit for our entire lives, for generations to come. We ask Allah to bless our students who came and told us about their experiences. We ask Allah to bless all of those involved, our leader, Sister Somaya, and all of those who spoke. And so now, what's next? There are going to be breakout rooms for Q&A, and really not just a Q&A, it's an intimate session to get, again, a more intimate feeling of what's going on. Is this the right program for me? Should I be doing this in the first place? Remember, we started by talking about intention and objective, right? Should I be doing this in the first place? At a deeper level, not just, hey, I have a year to spare. No, like, what should be my objective? What should be my intention? And is this the best way to fulfill that intention? And so, as you can see on the shared screen, there's the contact, the admissions at madinainstitute.com. There's a number that you can also call. There is the website link where you can apply. I encourage you to, inshallah, go to these breakout rooms. And where can you find the links? How do I get to these breakout rooms? The links are in the description below on YouTube and Facebook Live. So go to that description, click a breakout link, and just remember, this may be the only opportunity that God gives you. Make sure you see it as an opportunity from God. And inshallah, take advantage of this opportunity. We ask Allah to make your journey a journey of spiritual enlightenment, a journey of increased faith with every passing day, a journey of certainty in faith that that makes the difficulties of life we all experience easier, as the Prophet ﷺ made as in the dua. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make you a lifelong learner of this beautiful religion and an inheritor of the greatest of all creation, Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Thank you all again for joining. God bless you and your families. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.